love yours.
No such thing. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better.
Hi, I'm Tassie and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome home. And if you're a new subscriber, make yourself at home by clicking that subscribe button. So today we are coming with a very long awaited story time, and I do mean long awaited. Oh my god. So this is a story time about my friends from high school and why we don't really talk anymore. And of course, one of those friends includes the infamous Bianca. So majority of y'all came from my story time series about my first love, and y'all definitely had some opinions about Bianca. Okay, y'all definitely had a lot to say about Bianca, and like I said before, are you completely wrong? No, but y'all low-key was madder than me. And I'm still in shock by that. So I should have came a little bit sooner, but here is the story time that y'all have been bugging me about, waiting on. But it's not just gonna be about Bianca. It's obviously gonna be about like pretty much our whole friend group dynamic, because realistically they all had a role to play in the situation. So that's why I just decided to make them one. I low-key wanted to make them separate because I'm gonna tell you right now, this video is probably gonna be long. It's probably gonna be long. If I have to make it 2 parts, then I'll just make it 2 parts, but I think it's just gonna be one big long video. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please stay tuned. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So let me clarify something before I even get into the video. This story is predominantly going to be about me, Bianca, Jessica, and Katrina. There were other people that we were friends with at this time, but the reason why they're not being talked about and not being mentioned is simply because like we were the ones that kind of made it to the very, very end, and then we didn't talk to each other. Whereas as time went on, certain people, we just drifted apart. And there's specific things that I'm highlighting in this story and specific moments that don't involve the other friends that we had. So I'm not including them. They might come up from time to time. They might get mentioned from time to time, or at least their code names. But it was more than just the 4 of us. But I will say that the 4 of us were probably fairly closer to each other or spent more time with each other, and we ended up graduating on the same day with each other. And we just had more moments as a collective. Let's just say that we had more moments together. So that's the reason why like this is more so pertaining to them as opposed to the other people that might be mentioned. Majority of the other people, we real life just drifted apart, or like life had happened and we just didn't see each other anymore. But other than that, yeah, this is predominantly going to be about the 4 main characters. Okay, second thing I want to do, I want to describe how each person was. So with Katrina, I don't want to say was a sheltered child, but she comes from a family that isn't necessarily wealthy, but she definitely comes from a family that doesn't have to struggle financially. Let's just say that. Majority of her life, she has gone to private school. So for some odd reason, I don't know why, but for some odd reason for high school, she decided that she wanted to go to a public school, and she decided that she wanted to go to ghetto ass, ratchet ass Taft. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know how her parents even allowed her to do that, but they allowed her to do that. And as far as Jessica goes, Jessica was somebody who, I'm not gonna lie, like she came from her own situation that was kind of hard. But Jessica was one of those types of people where she was a go-getter. She was very motivated. She had so many things that people could only dream of before we even hit the age of 18. Like that girl has always been on it. She has always been a force to be reckoned with. She's always been smart. Like I have nothing negative to say about Jessica, for real. She just always been on top of her game. And she's a very outgoing person as well. Very outgoing, very bubbly, very charismatic, talkative. Like she's a big ray of sunshine. I'm gonna be honest. She's a big ray of sunshine. She's a very sweet person. Now, as for Bianca, hold on. Let me get my lip gloss real quick, because when it pertains to Bianca, there was an image of her that I had initially, and then there's an image of her that I had by the time that our friendship was no longer a friendship. So all I'm gonna say is, when I first was introduced to Bianca and met Bianca, Bianca definitely came off as a very sweet girl. She came off as very goofy. She definitely had her moments where she was kind of like a tomboy, but she was really just a very chillax type of person. And the thing about each of these individual people is that I can say that technically Katrina was the one that I ended up developing a relationship with first, but me and Katrina wouldn't really get all that close until junior year. Me, Jessica, and Bianca ended up getting close towards sophomore year. But I can say that me and Jessica were already building a relationship towards the end of freshman year anyways. So that is essentially how like our friendship dynamic really came to be, correct? Now the way that Bianca ended up getting factored in is technically where the story starts. So the best way I can explain it is that basically there came a point in time where it was this boy named Ace, right? So Ace and Jessica used to play as brother and sister, but they were really close with each other to the point where you low-key thought that they really were related. I don't know how they met each other, how they know each other, but basically Ace is Jessica's brother. Once upon a time, Ace was flirting and trying to talk to me, and that is how I ended up even meeting Jessica in the first place, because that was his sister. But during the time that I had first met Katrina, me, Katrina, and our little side group of friends used to sit with each other at lunch all the time, right? While we were sitting at lunch, there was this one girl that used to sit with us up until she I think transferred into another school, but there was this one girl that used to sit with us that revealed that her and Ace actually had a thing going on, and apparently they were somewhat flirting or something of that nature as well. Me being me, I don't come to nobody as a woman. Baby, you can have them. You feel me? Not only that, we were never actually together. It was nothing big. It was nothing major. And we had just started school. So I'm not heartbroken over nobody. You feel me?
Well,
so once I had peeped what I peeped, I pretty much backed up, fell back. Me and Ace were just, we dogs, you feel me? We cool, and it's just gonna be that. But the reason why this girl used to always talk about her and Ace's affiliation with each other was because she was under the impression that Ace was probably playing games with her, leading her along, etc., because she would notice how much he was close to this girl named Janae. And the crazy thing about Janae is that Janae was actually really close friends with Jessica as well. So she's technically her best friend and Ace's sister. But the gag of it all, the plot twist of it all, is that allegedly, because this is just a mess within itself, child. This is just a mess within itself. Bianca and Ace had actually been dating since the summer before we started freshman year. So, long story short, Ace is just not a good guy. Like, he just plays a lot, he do too much, he's crazy, right? So I kid you not, pretty much everybody in the school assumed that Ace and Janae were going out with each other, because that's literally how close they used to be. They used to always be cuddled up with each other, goof around with each other, just everything in a bag of chips. They always used to be together. But as far as Ace and Bianca, I quite literally seen Ace cuddle up with Bianca like once. I have never really seen that man really behave as if they were really boyfriend and girlfriend, or they were ever together. So that was just a weird relationship. That was just a really weird dynamic, you feel me? But then there would come a point in time where Bianca would seemingly start to get into it with her friend group, right? Now, from what I understand about her friend group, her and her friends had known each other at least since like first grade, I want to say, and they all came to high school together. So they all came from the same middle school and came to the same high school so they could be best friends forever or whatever. But allegedly, because between you and me, I don't believe that shit. I don't think that was the reason why any of that happened. But allegedly, her and her friends started to get into it because her friends were trying to warn her about Ace being a player, but she was just the my man type of girl. She wasn't really going for that. She was just like, no, I want to stay with my man because this is just him and I forgive him, da 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 da. Somehow these girls were offended by that, so they resorted to telling her business, trying to fight her, and essentially were bullying her. Now again, that don't sound right to me. I believe, like in my heart of hearts, I believe that her friends been not wanting to be her friend for a minute, and this was them feeling confident enough to do it now, because now they're in high school and they had added like 2 or 3 new people to their group, and one of them, I know that she was a fighter. One of them, she was definitely a fighter. So I guess they were like trying to orchestrate it to where she would fall out with them so that she could get beat up or something like that. It was some weirdo behavior. Like, listen, none of my business, nothing to do with me, but that's always been like my personal take on the situation, because it quite literally did not add up to me. It quite literally never made sense to me that like the way that they were handling her, this ain't over Ace. This ain't over this girl getting cheated on. Like, it's something else going on and y'all being weird. And then it was the frequency of how often this was happening too. But I guess that partially was like Bianca's fault, because once somebody caught themselves trying to expose me the first time, I'm not gonna kick it with them no more. But she kept going back to these people. Like, she kept sitting at the same table with them at lunch. She kept trying to still like reach out and talk to them and stuff like that. And again, I know I got pride issues. I know the way my ego set up, I would have never let that happen to me, because baby, you only got that one time and then I'm out, you feel me? But the more that she would try to get cool with them and get close to them, the more intense a lot of their antics would get. And they started basically spilling a lot of tea. Like I said, they started telling her business the first time, but it got to a point to where it was some significant pieces of stories that were being told where it was like, oh. Now, I know y'all came here to be messy. I know y'all came here for the tea, but I will say, because of my own integrity of who I am as a person, I am not going to repeat the things that were said, simply because I don't know how true any of those stories are. I don't slut shame people. I will never slut shame on my channel, on any of my platforms. I'm just not that type of person. But not only that, not trying to get fake woke, fake deep or whatever, but on the off chance that some of those things that were being said were true, that tells me that there is a bigger situation than just her trying to keep a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there must have been something that happened in her childhood or something that was happening at home, and that's why she was behaving that way. So I'm not even about to like entertain that or bring that up or make that bigger. No, like I just won't do that. But what I will say is, what was said was insinuating that she will do anything up under the sun to keep a man, you know? And there were a lot of rhetorics of how dumb she looked because this man is over here dating this person and this person and this person, and this happened, that happened, that happened, and so on and so forth. Now, I will say, again, I don't know if majority of those things were true, but this situation technically would be foreshadowing for the future. I'ma just say that. So as I'm noticing that all of this stuff is going on, and essentially this girl is getting ostracized, this girl is getting bullied, I wouldn't say that I took her under my wing, but I did start to notice that, you know, we did start to talk a little bit more than what we initially did before she was falling out with her friends. So technically this would be around a time where me and her would start to get close. But also keep in mind, this was during the time where me and Tyler were dating. So I already did a whole series about the dynamic between me and Tyler. If you guys want to go and watch those videos up until at least part 2, I recommend watching the whole thing. That way you understand the whole shebang. But honestly, as it pertains to Bianca and my friendships and everybody else, I would say watch the video up until part 2 and then come back and then you'll get it. But moving on, basically this was around a time where I was also dating Tyler, and this was the first time that I had noticed that her and Tyler kind of was like cool with each other, but they weren't close. So once sophomore year had kicked around, me and Katrina kind of like drifted apart a little bit. She still had the group of friends that we originally were talking to, and with me, I more so started to kick it with Jessica and our other friends. And around this time, this is when I would say that like Bianca's situation with her old friend group kind of got bad. There was no more arguments, there was no more fighting, but they pretty much had successfully ostracized that girl. And I did start to notice that there were people in our school that started to, you know, whisper about some of the things that were being said about her. And as somebody who has had my own bullying situation, my own ostracization, is that even a word? Is that what it's called? But as somebody who has been in a similar situation where somebody tells a story about you, people just are inclined to believe it and they just run with it, and then you just left by yourself, I guess in a way seen myself in that situation, or seen myself in her. So again, I wouldn't say that I took her under my wing, but I did start to voluntarily go and talk to her a little bit more. And when I went over to go and talk to her more, that's when some of my other friends would go over and talk to her a little bit more as well. So as time would go on, we would develop into a really good friendship, to the point where me, her, and Jessica were like the 3 musketeers. You never really seen either one of us by ourselves. Like, we were always together, or at least with one other person, but it was always the three of us. Like, it was always us. And like I said, we had other friends. They were a part of our group as well, but me and them, it was like we was thick as thieves, you feel me? And it mainly had to do with the fact that we were all in the honors classes, because I'm pretty sure I had mentioned that in the past. When I had went off to high school, I automatically was permitted to be in honors. And the thing about honors classes is that you don't get to, at least in my school, you didn't get to really switch classes and meet new people. You were with the same exact people from bell 1 all the way until the last bell. So we were always around each other, even back when she was beefing with her friends, you know? So whether it was intentional or not, we did kind of like know each other and got familiar with each other. We just didn't really give it a chance until sophomore year. But then not only that, me and Bianca used to get on the same school bus going home. So we also used to like not really chat it up on the bus, because I don't really like to talk when I'm trying to go home because I be tired. But you know, we were always in proximity with each other, and if the bus was crowded, she always knew that she could get a seat with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was cool. We was all cool with each other at one point in time. But as time would go on, I don't want to say her true colors were shown, because I am trying to get out the habit of saying that when it's just a bad situation. But all in all, Bianca started acting real weird. Real weird, and that's the best way I can describe it. So what am I referring to when I say that this girl started to act a little weird? So I just want to start off by saying that me being the type of person that I am, I can take a joke. Okay, I can go toe to toe with the best of them. I don't really get my feelings hurt that bad. I don't mind capping sessions or joning sessions, whatever y'all call it, where y'all from. I don't mind like having a little back and forth, a little friendly banter, you know, like I don't mind doing that. And that's just me as a person. But I have noticed that when I get into friendships or even relationships with people, I tend to gravitate to people that behave that way as well. So it's not abnormal that me and my friends, we crack jokes at each other. To a degree, we take jabs at each other, you know, like, oh, your forehead big, oh, your car raggedy, whatever, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's just how we set up, right? But it was always just something about Bianca that always rubbed me the wrong way with some of the things that she would say. Because I will say, she never only did it to me, she also did it to other friends of ours. But I will honest to God say that it did feel as though I was always the punchline of the joke, and I didn't understand why. Like, after a while, it did start to feel as though like I was the punching bag, I was the target, like I was always the one that she wanted to sit up and talk about. And you're probably wondering, like, okay, so Tasi, why you ain't never checked that if you had an issue with it? Like, why you ain't never called it out? Because if you heard my previous story times, you know I'm good for checking hoes. I'm good for just being like, what was said, you know? But in this particular situation, or more so this particular era of my life, I was trying to calm down. I was trying to be a better person. I was trying to control my anger a little bit better. And I also was trying to be more of a people person. So I didn't want to just respond how the old version of me would respond. I tried to just laugh it off and be like, oh, okay, you know, like, leave it there. And then, like I said, like, we always used to banter back and forth. So I just thought, like, you know, like, oh, hee ha ha, like, I'm gonna just hit her back with something back and it's gonna stop. But it never stopped. But I was still trying to, like, you know, step into a new era, be a new person, be a little bit happier. But not only that, I can be real about it now that I am older. I feel like this era of my life, I was definitely clinging on to relationships that no longer serviced me. Because like I had told y'all in the story time about Tyler, I was fresh out of a depressive episode. And I was in this space where, like, things were kind of iffy, things were kind of foggy. So basically what it was like, there was a part of me that didn't want to be alone anymore. I had been feeling alone because of my depression and all the stuff that I was going through. But I was also physically alone because, well, I told y'all the story time about me being bullied, you know? So those situations kind of went hand in hand. Those situations kind of overlap with each other. So I guess I was tolerating her behavior because I didn't want to be without a friend, you know? And as it pertains to Jessica, this is where, like, the other friends start to get factored into the story. My gripe with Jessica, y'all are probably wondering why Jessica never said anything, or was she coming at Jessica the same way? And the answer is yes and no, because again, I feel like majority of it was definitely targeted towards me for whatever reason. But the thing about Jessica, which I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of somewhat the resentment that I have with her. Jessica is one of those people where she's non-confrontational, so she doesn't really feel the need to defend herself, and in certain situations she doesn't feel the need to defend her friends, because Jessica was definitely capable of getting down with the best of them, you know, like she was somebody where she could fight. It's just you had to push her to that point in order for her to fight, you know? She had a mouthpiece on her like anybody else, but even with that, it's like she wants to be everyone's friend. She wants to be bubbly. She wants to be happy, which, you know, very understandable. I wouldn't have it any other way. But, you know, there were some moments where, in my personal opinion, Bianca would say certain things that would kind of rub everybody the wrong way as well, but Jessica just never had the strength to tell her, hey, don't act like that, don't talk to me like that, don't treat me like that. And when it pertained to me, I can take accountability and said I should have spoke up. That's the one thing that I wish I would have done. I should have spoke up for myself. I shouldn't have been pressed to be friends with this little girl. I shouldn't have had it in my brain that I had to play nice when I know my gut was telling me that she's purposely aiming at you and she's purposely coming for you. But I will say that, like, there were certain moments where we both would look at each other, like me and Jessica would look at each other like, was that shade? Was that girl trying to be funny? Was she doing the most? And even then, Jessica just would never say anything. She just would sit there. Like, she never said or did anything to that girl. So that's just weird scenario number one, okay? Weird scenario number two. There was this thing that used to irritate me and trip me out a little bit. And I could never tell if I was overreacting, if I was being irrational. But again, my gut was telling me, like, something about this girl ain't right. But I stayed, you know? As most of you know, I was always labeled the quiet kid when I was going to school. So there would be times where I guess I would unintentionally sneak up on people, or people would like forget that I was physically there once I start to join a conversation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even in present day with me like putting myself out there on the internet, I've had people from high school find like my pages and be like, oh, you look familiar. Like, they know that I look familiar, but they can't tell you what my name is. They can't tell you really much about me, because I really used to just be solo dolo like that. Like, I really used to just be in the cut by myself. So it's not abnormal, you know? But there was this thing that Bianca would do where, let's say that we're all having a conversation with each other. It's a whole group conversation. And I am just sitting here, you know, listening to what everyone else has to say. It's my turn to talk. I'll talk. And Bianca would be quick to respond,
Oh, I forgot you was here.
okay. Now, initially, I didn't think anything of it, because again, this is kind of like my little reputation. Like, it's a lot of people that be like, oh, this is the most I've heard you talk, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. So I didn't care. The second time, I didn't really care, because again, like, it is what it is. Third time, didn't really care. But now we on the umpteenth time. What number is umpteenth? I can't even begin to tell you. But it was literally entirely too many times. I would speak, and this girl would make it a point to break her neck and go out of her way and say,
I forgot you was here. I really forgot you were here. I forgot you existed for a second. I forgot you were standing right there. I completely forgot that you existed. I completely forgot that you were there, girl. Oh, girl, I completely forgot that you was a person.
like, it got to a point to where, like, I just was weirded out. I'm like, okay, is she subliminally trying to tell me to walk away and shut up? Like, is that what she's trying to say? Because again, my gut was telling me that. But I was ignoring it. But that is exactly the types of vibes that I'm getting. And even as I'm older, it's been, I don't know how many years since that situation. Yeah, that's what she was trying to do. That's 100% what she was trying to do. And I don't put that past her at all. That is 100% what that girl was trying to do, okay? Because there was even a moment in time where she did it and everybody ignored her. So then she said it a second time, and then we ignored her again, and then she said it a third time until somebody acknowledged her. Like, girl, you know what you're doing. That's weird. And then the other thing that I thought was like really weird about Bianca's behavior, this also overlaps with my other friends, Katrina and Jessica. There would be times where I would talk about something and Bianca would take it upon herself to, I guess, like try to humble me or try to like little girl me in a situation. And it really made me feel, I'm gonna just be honest, because I mean, I'm older now, you know, I can be real about all of my emotions and everything that I went through. It hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings, and it hurt my feelings really bad. And the reason being is because, like I had said, I was depressed. I spent my middle school years being so depressed. I was, to say the least, born into a situation that I could not control. So the Tasi that was inside of me was not something that I could really express outwardly because of all the obstacles that were standing in my way. Once I had got to high school, I took high school as being like my reset button, but I didn't know just how far behind I was compared to majority of other people. Like, was I book smart? Yeah, no doubt about it. But as far as like everything else, I guess you could say, not even socially, because I didn't struggle socially, but it was like just finding myself as a person. I feel like I was late to the party with that. Like, everybody knew, oh, I'm a good dancer. Oh, I can play soccer. Oh, I like volleyball. Oh, I like this, that, and the third. I was in that stage where I was still trying to figure it out, and everybody else seemed to have had it figured out. So when I started high school, I pretty much did like want to join different clubs and do different activities. But I talked myself out of doing it because I, again, was very intimidated, very nervous, because I felt like everybody was significantly further ahead than me. Like, majority of the people that were doing volleyball, it's because they already had played volleyball before and they knew what they were doing. And I just felt like I didn't belong there. And it was pretty much the same thing for cheerleading as well, which I'm kind of glad that I didn't join the cheerleading team, because our cheerleading team sucked. Honestly, truly, they sucked. So I ain't really missed out on much. But, you know, even when it came to the cheerleading team, like, there's a lot of people where they had some type of experience in, I don't know, step team or spirit squad, or, you know, some people, they really had been cheering since they was like 2 years old or something. And then there were other people that were just really good at acrobatics and stuff, and I just felt so out of place. I just talked myself out of doing it. But my sophomore year, I was a little bit more motivated to try new things because, again, I was in a relationship at this time. So I was a little bit confident. I felt like, you know, Miss Girl, because I'm dating a trapper. You feel me? Like, I was in my bag a little bit with my confidence at that time. So I started to kind of like get ready to dip my toes in the water. But because, again, your girl kind of insecure, little fogginess of depression still left on her body, I went to my trusty friends and was expecting for them to, you know, give me some words of encouragement or inspire me or push me to do better. And I was met with criticism. I was met with them laughing in my face and saying things like,
could you imagine her trying to be a cheerleader? Could you imagine her on a dance team? Like, I would be bawling my eyes out. Like, I just cannot see her doing that. She looks so awkward.
And then there was also this other moment where, I'm not even bullshitting, I have kept this with me pretty much my whole life up until this point. Like, it has really bothered me for years. So majority of my life, I have always worn my natural hair. I feel like I have shown my natural hair when I was younger on here plenty of times. I have come on here. When I started off, I actually showed y'all my natural hair. So y'all know that, like, my hair grows, okay? My hair is thick. I've always had hair. I've always worn my hair. But one thing about my family was that they're one of those families where it's like, we don't want you to grow up too fast. So there was no hair weave for me. There was no color, you feel me? I didn't really get to consistently wear hair weave until I started paying for it, you know? So my junior year comes around, right? We just moved into a new house. I got a job that was paying me fairly decent for me to be a high schooler. So with that money, a girl was keeping her hair done, you feel me? Because all I would do was just order the bundles plus the closure. Because yes, I had closure money, baby. I had closure money. So I would get my bundles, I would get my closure, and my mom, you know, at the time was doing hair, so I would just have her do it. Not gonna lie, I wish I didn't, because I look back on those photos and I'm like, oh, she pushed my shit all the way back. That is not how a closure is supposed to look, but I digress. I was basically at that time keeping my hair done. I was keeping my hair in a sew-in or some type of braids or a bob or, you know, some type of twist. Or there was even an era of my life where I was wearing and experimenting with crochet. So I was wearing like different crochet styles and stuff. And I had felt the most confident that I had in like a while, you know, because again, a bitch was just depressed all of middle school. Then this particular moment, this was actually after, you know, Tyler and the whole debacle with him and Bianca that we're still gonna get to. So, you know, like I beat depression, I beat getting over a heartbreak. Freshman year, I had got jumped by some bitches, and you know, I overcame that. So I'm really feeling myself, like I'm really feeling like that girl. And I will never forget, this time it wasn't even Bianca, it was another friend. It was Trina, if y'all remember Trina from a previous installment. I will never forget how Trina looked up at my hair and then looked me in my face and had a subtle, very subtle look of disgust and was like,
So are you just never gonna wear your real hair again? You just gonna be hair weaved out for the rest of your life?
Okay, Bets. You too.
and y'all, I can't perp, like that really hurt my feelings. Like that really hurt me so bad, because that was literally like, I felt so pretty. I felt so confident. I felt so good about myself. And like I keep saying, I was so depressed, and I felt so behind compared to everybody else. So the person that y'all see today, this has always been me. Always. This has always been me. This has always been a desire of mine. This has always been how I wanted to present myself. But again, there were just factors that were going on in my life where it was blocking me from doing that. It was preventing me from doing that. I had a lot of emotional trauma I had to overcome. So it took time, you know, it took a large amount of time. And that was my little baby step. That was my little baby step, was just doing different hairstyles. Taking my own pictures of myself, keeping them on my phone just so I could look back at them. I wasn't even confident enough to post them half of the time. But either way it goes, I felt good and I felt comfortable doing my hair, having my hair always done. And to hear that and to see that expression, it just killed my vibe. And that was pretty much the dynamic with my friend group at that time. It just seemed like none of them really encouraged me. None of them really like wanted to see me do better and achieve better and be more confident. It's like they wanted me, and mind you, I'm just speaking from my own personal feelings. I'm not saying that that's how all of them felt about me, but it just felt like they wanted to keep me in a box so that they could feel better about themselves. They didn't want me to gain any confidence, to be anything more than just the girl that's always in the books. Like, they didn't want me to do anything. It didn't seem like they really wanted me to be there. After a while, it didn't feel like they even wanted me to be their friend, you know? And that was something that just really hurt. It really hurt. And I can be a real ass bitch now and be honest and say that shit hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings so bad. It hurt my feelings so bad. And like I said, majority of the time it would be Bianca that would do it, you know? But they all had their turns. They all had their ways about it where, let's humble Tasi today. Let's make Tasi feel bad about herself today, you know? But when Bianca would do it, the way that nobody would say anything, the way nobody would defend me, the way nobody would say anything, like everybody was just so non-confrontational. Like nobody wanted to say anything, do anything. But let it be on the other foot, y'all expecting Tasi to pop off. Like, that's crazy. That was honest to God crazy. So I was going off on a tangent. I'm fully aware of that. So, you know, I didn't even really fully specify what it was that Bianca was doing, but it was pretty much in that ballpark of what I was talking about. But that was predominantly like the other friends. So that was like Jessica, Katrina, and Trina. Like, that was them, right? What Bianca would do, this is what Bianca would do. I'm going to give you guys an example. So there came a point in time where we had Spirit Week, and one of the days of Spirit Week was called a blackout, and that's when everybody just wore all black. Now, me being me, because this was during a time where, like, to a degree, beauty influencing was starting to start, but people were still kind of like picking and choosing what they wanted to do. Like, nobody was really full face, full glam, like how I see the kids nowadays. Like, first day of school, they face beat, you feel me? Like, they're getting makeup appointments and stuff like that. For a lot of people, when I was in high school, the full face, full glam was for prom and like homecoming and all those special events. But on a regular average day, people were not putting their makeup on. If anything, this is around a time where people started consistently getting their nails and their lashes done, but nobody was really wearing makeup like that. And if anything, it would be like the lipstick or like a little bit of gloss or whatever, but that's pretty much it. So I had the idea that I was going to wear all black lipstick with my all black outfit because I don't know, like I just thought it would be cute. But I talked myself out of doing it because this was during a time where I rarely ever wore makeup, and I was nervous about actually trying to go out and wear makeup. Plus, I didn't know all the stuff that I know now, so technically I didn't even have any black lipstick, but I did have liquid eyeliner and like the outline pencil and stuff like that. And now I know, like, I could have just took like one of those little pencils or one of those little liners, mixed it together with some gloss, and boom, I you know, same thing, same difference. But again, I talked myself out of doing it because I was still trying to find myself, you feel me? So I remember coming to school that day, and Jessica had on the black lipstick. Now again, me and my friends, we joke, we talk, we this, we that, it's not that serious. So I looked at Jessica when we all was in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, I bet you stole my idea, I was gonna do that. Little Miss Bitch Bianca breaks her neck and goes out of her way and says,
You don't even wear makeup, so what are you talking about?
What?
pump the motherfucking brakes, ho. Like, just back up a little bit. Give me 50 feet, bitch. Because first of all, I don't wear makeup predominantly. I don't always wear makeup. Like, during this time, like, literally, I wore gloss, colored gloss, and that was it. But nonetheless, I don't predominantly wear makeup, but I had like a small little makeup collection, and it was trash. It was a trash makeup collection, okay? But I was in that stage where I was practicing, because again, when I was a teenager, this is when the beauty influencing was starting to like come up. So nobody really knew how to do makeup. Nobody really knew how to put that shit on. You feel me? Like, nobody knew how to do that. But I was one of the people, because I've always been obsessed with like YouTube and stuff. I was the one at home practicing with the few little products that I had. So I have possession of makeup, I just don't wear it. And then I've said it like I don't know how many times, I'm not a morning person. I'm not waking up early to put a face on. Girl, I'm not that dedicated. I'm not that pressed. That will never be me, and I can be real about that. That was never going to be me, baby. Never. Because I need my sleep. If I can get 2 extra minutes, I'm getting those 2 extra minutes. So you going out your way to say little shit like that, very weird, because you don't know what you're talking about. But not only that, why is that even relevant to what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that I thought about wearing black lipstick along with my black outfit. That's all that's being said. We don't need you breaking your neck and clarifying shit. And that's just one example, right? But when I tell you, it was everything that I talked about. It was everything that I did. Anything that she personally felt like I was incapable of doing, or didn't know about, or wasn't knowledgeable about, or this, that, and the third, she would go out of her way to like try to humble somebody, or say like, oh no, you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do that, you don't know about this, that, and the third, and da da da. And it's like, bitch, shut up. Like, please shut up. Please shut up, please, because like, what are you actually talking about? And even if it was a situation where I don't know what I'm talking about, why does that bother you? Why is that something to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Like why is that something that you feel the need to even announce? Like, just shut up. Just shut up sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much all like the weird things that she was doing at that time. And as time would go on, it would just get weirder and weirder, okay? But we're not there yet. So let's talk about the situation that people desperately have been wanting me to talk about for a while, okay? So again, if you already watched my series about my first love, you know, me and Tyler's little fake love story or whatever, then you already know the details about this situation, because technically part 2 is the story time. Like, part 2 is technically the whole situation of what happened. But for those that were not there, I'm going to summarize it as best as I possibly can. But again, if you need more context, you need more details, go watch that video. So basically what happened, as I've told you guys before, Tyler used to be really aloof when it came to school. He was one of those kids where he just really didn't like school like that. So you rarely ever really saw him. When he did come to school, however, it would be like once a month or at least twice a month, but it wouldn't be very consistent. Because I was friends with Bianca at this time, and by this point a lot of people knew that me and him were together, she would often point out when he would come into the cafeteria. So she would make it a point to go out of her way, look at me, and tell me,
There go yo boo.
and as I've specified before, you know, I didn't like the fact that he never would come and sit with me and my friends. I never did like the fact that he would purposely go and sit at a separate table. So for me, it's like, you know, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing just to come and approach you when you could have just been normal and came and sit with us, you know. But for whatever odd reason, Bianca would take it upon herself to go over and talk to him before I did. Now, it's already a red flag within itself that you peeping my man before I even get a chance to peep my man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that already should have been a red flag to me, but I didn't take it as one. But now you're also going over to him and talking to him all the time. Now, the other thing that I didn't really specify when I did tell y'all the story about me and Tyler and like that whole situation is that her and Tyler at some point in time were cool with each other. And then once me and him became a couple, or at least around the time that she had found out that me and him were a couple, that's when she started identifying herself as his best friend, and they started being best friends with each other. Now, those of you are probably wondering, okay, so why did you not take that offensive? Why did you not look at that as something to check her about? For starters, I was young. I was real young. I didn't see it as a problem, to be honest, because this was my first relationship. You know, I didn't think he was even capable of moving grimy. I didn't think that he was capable of cheating. Second of all, a piece of information that I feel like was really pivotal in the point that I'm trying to drive home is that there was a point in time where it was me, her, and Jessica, and we were sitting around essentially having like a little girl talk, and boys became the topic of discussion. Everybody told their version of what they look for in a man, what their type is. And anybody that knows me knows that I do not have a type. Like, when it comes to physical attraction, I really don't have a type of man that I'm going after. I'm very big on personality, for real. And even with personalities, you don't really have to be one set personality. I am pretty much open to dating whoever. Like, now that I'm older, I kind of have my preferences, but even then, I'm flexible with them because I really just like to get to know people. So, you know, it really doesn't make me any difference, for real, at the end of the day. But long story short, Bianca's type was a tall, light-skinned man that was basically the manliest man you've ever heard of in your life. So, Tyler is the complete opposite of that. He's not that at all. Tyler was shorter than me. He was either shorter than me or we were the same exact height. No, he was shorter than me. He didn't become the same exact height until we became adults. So yeah, that man was shorter than me. He was shorter than me, very dark skinned, which I've told y'all before. And it's not that he's not a masculine man, but in the terms of what she meant, especially during that time period, he was not the most masculine man in the world. Like, he quite literally just was chilling. Like, he just did what he felt was best, and he has his moments where he kind of act like a white boy, you know. So he wasn't like this big macho man that she was looking for, you feel me? And to top it all off, while we were having this conversation about boys and what our types were, there also came a point in time where we have a full-fledged conversation about friends dating each other's exes. And again, I was young, I didn't know any better, and Tyler was my first relationship, like my first real relationship with somebody. So I was one of the main people that was saying that I wouldn't care if one of my friends dated one of my exes because he's my ex. I don't care about him anymore. So why would I care if my friend finds love in someone that I didn't work out with? You know, all like just so full of hope. So full of hope, you know, so cheery, happy-go-lucky, head in the clouds with the logic, okay? And I will never forget that Bianca specifically was the one that was going really hard behind friendship, loyalty, and saying,
I would never do that to one of my friends because that is completely trifling. Why would you want a man that your friend already had feelings for, that you wanted? Like, no, I would never do something like that to my friend.
girl. Okay. So even though these things are a red flag in retrospect, they're a red flag in today's day and age, I did not see them as red flags back then because I didn't think that I had anything to worry about. I didn't see her as competition. I didn't see her as a threat. I didn't see her as anything. I really was content with the fact that, yeah, they cool. They friends. It is what it is. Not only did she do that, but like I had specified before, there were times where me and his communication was not up to par because I did not have a cell phone, and I was supposed to be getting a cell phone for my upcoming birthday, which wasn't going to hit until March. So there would be times where I would go a lengthy amount of time without talking to this man, right? So there would come a point in time where Bianca would start to ask me, when's the last time I talked to Tyler? And at first I would tell her the truth. I would tell her when I talked to him, I would tell her, oh, it's been a week, or it's been a few days, or, oh, well, we're supposed to be linking up the next week, or whatever. Like, I was completely honest with her. But the reason why I stopped telling her stuff and I started to essentially lie and over exaggerate is because there would be so many times where I would tell her, oh yeah, we talked last night, and she would be like,
So what you guys talk about?
and again, I'm not thinking that's weird. I'm not thinking there's anything wrong with just wanting to know certain details or certain things, you know? And in my mind, this is my friend. So like, I don't have to hide things from her. So then I would tell her what we talked about, and I would tell her the stories, and she would go on to somehow find a way to put herself in the story. So to give an example, like let's say that I said that I was talking to him last night and we were talking about, I don't know, Vampire Diaries or something like that. And he says that the main character reminds me of you, whatever. I would tell her that, and this girl would literally be like,
Oh my God. Like, if that was me, I would have told him this, and I would have told him that, and I would have told him that, and then he probably would have responded like, yeah, blah, 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 and I would have just said this, that, and the third, and da 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 da, and I probably would have told him, like, you gotta buy me ice cream after this because you got me messed up.
Am I tripping, or is that not weird? Like, that was really weird, right? And I kid you not, it happened like damn near every time that I would tell her about me and him. Like damn near any time that I would tell her about what we did, what we talked about, that is her exact reaction. That is her exact response. She would always find a way to place herself in it. And then even with the what did you guys talk about, I feel like, again, I didn't see it as a problem back then. But it's like, if I wanted to tell you a piece of information about my relationship, let me do that. Why are you pushing to get certain pieces of information out there before I even get the chance to? Like, I don't understand that. I feel like that's invasive. I feel like that's doing a little bit too much. Like, you don't need to know all the details. If I give you the details, that's different. But don't keep bugging me. Like, don't do that. So yeah, I started lying to her. I started just like BSing with her and telling her I ain't spoke to him in months. Like, girl, I don't know what he doing. I don't know where he at. I don't know if he's alive. And as you guys know, to a degree, it wasn't completely not the truth. Like, it was over exaggerated 100%. But there were times where, like, I genuinely don't know this man's whereabouts. I don't know what he's getting into. I don't know where he's at. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's doing it. I have no idea, you know? But all in all, I just got tired of her doing that because I thought that was weird. And basically, there would come a point in time where either she got tired of hearing the same answer or she caught on to the fact that I was perping. So she then gets very upset, very angry, very pissed off. And she just starts going off on me, and she ends up saying like,
Y'all aren't even in a real relationship.
and I'm just sitting there like, okay, that makes me not want to talk to you about my relationship even more, because like, why are you even angry? Like, why are you more angry than me? And I'm the one that's supposedly supposed to be going through all these things. Like, what's going on with that? And then she goes on to say like,
Y'all not in a real relationship if y'all don't text each other every single day, because if you don't text him every day, he's probably cheating on you.
and I just couldn't help but think in the back of my head, like, baby, you probably texted Ace every day. And according to your old friend group, you did some of everything up under the sun to keep that man, and you still couldn't keep that man. So don't tell me what my relationship is supposed to reflect, and you clearly aren't talking from experience. Like,
Oh, now that's how you clear a bitch. I don't know who that hoe is, but you could never.
girl, don't tell me nothing about my man. huh? Like what? So then eventually me and Tyler would break up. And there would come a point in time where one of his homeboys, who also would come to school when he felt like it, one of his homeboys was kind of cool with me. And when he would come to school, he would come and sit with me and my table and my people, and he would ask me about Tyler. So around this time, on this particular scenario, he would say his usual, asking me about where Tyler is, and I would then go on to tell him, like, we broke up, we're no longer together. And when I tell you, Bianca practically leaped across the table and had the fattest Kool-Aid smile on her face, stars in her eyes, and said,
Y'all broke up?
that is a memory I will never be able to wipe away. That is something that I think will probably replay in my last moments on earth. Like, I kid you not, because it was weird when it happened, but I didn't know just how weird it was gonna get. You know, this girl seemed like she was so happy and so excited that we were not together anymore. And I was just very weirded out by that. But again, didn't take it as a red flag, didn't take it as a sign, didn't take it as anything. So Tyler finally comes back to school. This time around, he's a little bit more consistent with his presence at school. I'm guessing because maybe he got in trouble with like truancy or something like that. So he starts coming around back to school more after we done broke up. And around the month of my birthday, I start to notice that him and Bianca are starting to get very close with each other. And again, I peeped it, but didn't really take it personally, didn't really think that it was a big deal, didn't really think too much of it, right? Because my logic, again, me being young and dumb, my logic was that, oh, well, you know, they were friends, you know, and just because me and him don't speak anymore, I can't tell her to not hang out with someone that she built a bond with. So this is my fault. I should have clarified this. I should have made that very clear. But I'm just clearly tired of even like breathing life into this situation. I'm only telling this story because I promised that I was going to tell this story. But honestly, the whole Tyler situation itself, including her, very much dead to me, very much over it. So I guess I was just tired of like telling the story or repeating it or whatever, but I digress. So if you did watch My First Love story time, that whole series, specifically if you watched part 2, this was the event that took place after we were at lunch and she claimed that Tyler had her phone and he was looking through her pictures and stuff like that. This happened after that. So after that lunchtime situation, this is when I started to notice that they were getting really, really close with each other and talking more and spending more time with each other. This all happened from, to give you a timeline, we broke up, she finds out that we broke up, phone situation at lunchtime happens, and then everything after that just fell into place. But in the original Storytime series, I never specified what it was that piqued my interest and had me thinking like, oh, they go together or whatever. I just simply said I noticed them getting close. This is the moment that I noticed that they were getting close. This was the moment that made me open up my eyes and think, oh, they mess around with each other. They're dating each other. Like, this is what's going on. So I just wanted to quickly clarify that because I completely forgot to mention that the first time. So there would come a day, let's just say this, okay? I would come to the conclusion that these two were dating, very much together, very much so. I would come to this conclusion on a particular day where I'm on the bus and I don't see Bianca anywhere. Could have been a sick day, could have been absent, you know. Didn't really take it as anything deeper than that. But then the bus gets to school, right? The bus gets to school and Bianca is just standing in front of the school on her phone, deep in her phone. Now, the place that she was standing at, it was the very front of the school where we go in order to even, you know, go and check in and get to our classes and get to the lunchroom and wait for the bell to ring. It wasn't the front of the school. To an extent, we had to walk past the school in order to get to where we needed to be. But the way that the school is built, it's like you can kind of be ducked off but still be in front of the school. So even though technically we passed her, I did not pass her to be able to stop what I was doing and say, hey, where are you going? Or, hey, why wasn't you on the bus? Or, hey, what's up with you? Or whatever. Because by the time that I even seen that she was in the front of the school, I had already turned the corner and was like in line to go and get my bags checked or whatever. So by the point that I seen her, I'm just like, oh, that looked like her. All right, cool. I assume that she's gonna be coming into school, you know. Next thing I know, the whole day goes by, she's not in school, she's not in class, she's not coming in late, she basically just skipped school. But I'm like, okay, nothing to worry about, nothing suspicious, nothing major. It wasn't until we had dismissed, everybody is getting on their buses, and the buses would line up around the school. I get on the bus and I see two figures crossing the street, and one looks like Bianca and the other one looks like Tyler. And the thing about Bianca, let me tell you a little fun fact about Bianca, okay? The whole entire time that I have known Bianca would not be caught dead with her hair not done. If her hair wasn't done to the way that she wanted it, she at least would have it in a bun. Why did I see this girl and her hair at the roots frizzed up? Ponytail that she has in her head, very floppy, very to and fro. You know, the Bianca that I know would never step out the house looking like that, never allow herself to be in public looking like that, okay? She would have went home. She would have went home. She would have went home. The fact that I seen that her hair was like that, and I watched Tyler literally walk her to the bus that we both catch, and then he hugged her and she got on the bus. This bitch skipped school to go fuck my ex. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's what happened. And that was the moment that I knew, oh, they're together. That's what happened. Like that was all the confirmation that I needed. And from that moment on, I was completely devastated and I was shocked and appalled. I asked one of my other friends that wasn't, you know, Jessica and Katrina, what should I do? How should I feel? How should I go about it? Because I really don't want to say anything. I really don't even want to confirm it, just for my own sanity. Again, if you watched the previous video, then you know how that went. She confirmed it. She knew that that was happening, but she didn't make it a big deal out of respect for me. But she was very vocal about how I needed to check her. I needed to say something about it, and that was just nasty. But either way it goes, like I had said in the previous video, I kept it to myself because I did not want to lose a friend over a man. That was my logic. I did not want to be one of those girls where you see her fighting another girl and it's all because of a man. You know, second of all, again, ego issues, okay? Very egotistical. I did not want this man to know that I was heartbroken. I did not want this man to know that I had feelings for him still, that I still cared about him, that I loved him. I didn't want him to know anything. So I took it on the chin, suppressed those emotions, and just kept it to myself because I did not want to make it a big deal. You know, I didn't want him to even peep that it had me bothered. I wanted both of them to act as if like, oh, does she not know? Does she not know? Like, I wanted them to be salty, okay? So I kept it to myself. I definitely did that. But what made it really sting, what made it worse, right? She began to lie, like purposely scheme and lie and hide the fact that she was dating him. And again, it's like, I knew that they were together, so it's like, why would I be upset about her hiding information that I already know the truth of? That's her demon to fight. You feel me? Like, that's her running with a chicken with their head cut off, trying to figure out how she gonna cover up a lie with another lie with another lie. That's not my problem, you know? But the reason why it hurt me was because that just goes to show that she knew that what she did was wrong. That goes to show that she knows that you ain't supposed to be dating this man. You know what I'm saying? I was heartbroken for the reasons why I was heartbroken, okay? But for you to be aware that what you're doing is absolutely trifling, which is why you're moving the way that you're moving, for some reason that bothered me 10 times more. And I can't explain the logic behind it. I can't tell you why, but it bothered me 10 times more. But to add insult to injury, right? Because like we already discussed, they wasn't good at hiding it. She wasn't a good liar. And I still low-key was in contact with him, which I wasn't supposed to, but I was still low-key in contact with him. So, you know, girl, I know all your tea, okay? Like, I know everything. And meanwhile, he's still trying to talk to me while he talking to you. So it is what it is, you feel me? But what made it even worse, which again, this is where the other people get factored in. What made it worse was that a lot of my friends were helping her lie to me. And again, it didn't work because I already knew what was going on. I already knew what was up. But it was just the principle of the matter that y'all all know that this is wrong. Y'all all know that this is trifling, and y'all are helping her. Y'all are keeping her little secret. Given the only thing that I can really sit down and take accountability for is, again, I should have spoke up for myself a little bit more. I should have stood my ground a little bit more. I should have communicated more, because I think if I did express that, you know, this was someone that I was in love with, so it was different, maybe they would have cared. You feel me? Like, maybe it would have turned out completely different than how it turned out. But I'm still hurt by it, you know, like I still feel some type of way about it, because what is up with people's loyalty when it pertains to me? Like, what is it about me where people feel like they don't have to respect me? Because let that had been anybody else in our friend group, nobody would have been helping nobody do this shit. You feel me? Let it have been a situation where it could have been anybody else, and I'm one of the people that's helping the other girl hide the fact that she's dealing with your ex, bro. We all would have been cut off. All of us. Like, all of us would have been cut off. They probably would have tried to fight one of us. All of us probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would have been pandemonium. We would have been all types of bitches and hoes on Facebook. It just would have been drama. So I find it weird that, like, y'all are really helping this girl lie to me. Y'all are really helping this girl. I just, like, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, like, that is like the biggest bulk of the reason why I don't talk to majority of them anymore. Again, this is specifically like Jessica and Katrina. Trina a little bit too, but even with Trina, I feel like I could talk to her. We gonna have our little tit for tat, but she gonna be over it. But you know, Jessica and Katrina just really broke my heart with that. Actually, no, I take it back, because Katrina really was not even there, because she ended up, okay, so Katrina ended up getting transferred over to the honors classes by junior year, so she didn't even really kick it with Jessica and Bianca like that until then. So I can't even put that on Katrina. Katrina did not know about that situation, but Jessica did, and Jessica and Trina were helping her cover it up, and that was when I felt like betrayed by my friends, you know. But Katrina wouldn't be without fault. Katrina would not be without fault. So that brings us to the next phase of our friendship dynamic and all the stuff that we were going through. Hey guys, so unfortunately I have to make this into 2 parts. This time it's not because of storage though. So progress, you know what I'm saying? Progress. But as most of y'all know by now, if you follow me on TikTok, your girl is now finally back in school after all these years of talking about it. Oh my God, it's been such a long time coming. So now that I'm on a school schedule and a school routine, I have homework, I have assignments. So far so good though, but it's mainly because this is like the first week. Like, we're just now finishing the first week of school. But nonetheless, you know, I got a lot of things that I need to do, and clearly school comes before content. However, I am very proud of myself for the amount of content that I've been able to film while doing homework. That, yeah, I'm in a new era. I'm in my bag a little bit, I can't lie. So with that being said, this is the end of the first part. Look out for part 2 next week, and that's gonna be the finale of this whole entire story time. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video. Comment down below any of your thoughts and opinions, because I know y'all got them. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and of course share if you can. So with that being said, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Back up on my bullshit, back up on the scene. Done dealing with you.